they've probably never ridden an electric motorcycle, probably never driven an electric car. But every single person that's jumped on one of those bikes has come back grinning. And the standard response is, wow.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what I was expecting, but I didn't quite expect that. We've recorded 3.9 seconds to 60.
And what's the top speed?
Officially, 109 miles an hour. Indicated I had 124 miles an hour out of it.
Wow.
It can perform like a proper machine.
All right, welcome back to Just Ride, where we talk all things motorcycling, the present, the past, and where it's all heading next.
The future.
The future. Now, today's episode is a big one. We're joined by Paul Cummings, CEO of Avenrà. I knew I'd get that wrong.
I knew you'd get it wrong.
That's the first strike.
In the first attempt, yeah.
Thank you. Oh. So, Avenrà, a UK-based electric motorcycle company, launching its first bikes in June 2026, which we're all excited about. We'll talk about that later. But this isn't just another EV conversation. Avenrà is trying to rethink what motorcycling looks like, from performance and accessibility to safety, with tech like their Halo perception system, aiming to take ride awareness to a completely new level. And whatever you're into, and whether you're into electric bikes or not, this is the kind of conversation that matters, because like it or not, the industry is changing. Paul, welcome to Just Ride.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Oh,
You're very, very welcome.
Before we get going, we've just come back. We were so late tonight on the podcast. We've all had to go on the new Evo.
In fact, some of us have got helmet hair, apart from Scott.
I left mine on the bike.
Yeah, we literally spent, about an hour?
I think it was, yeah.
Riding the Evo, which is at the top of the range bike
Yeah,
that
that's
you
the
brought.
one.
You were kindly brought up from the head office today, which we didn't know about until this afternoon. And when I told the guys we were going to be riding one of your bikes, they were like, "Whoa!"
Very grateful. Very grateful.
So it was fantastic. So we do appreciate you.
No.
What we're going to do, we're going to talk about our experiences of that tonight. We took some video tonight, and it was my first time on it as well. Certainly on a sports bike.
All of our time. All of our first time, I think, on an electric vehicle. Motorbike. Sorry.
Yeah.
Motorbike.
Yeah. There's no Teslas in this conversation.
There's no Teslas in this conversation, or hybrids.
But before we get going then, Paul, I mean, starting a motorcycle company in 2026, that's not a small decision. Why now?
Well, it kind of all came about initially because I fancied a bike.
Right.
So 4 or 5 years back, got to that stage in life where it was, kids are grown up, everything feels a bit settled.
Yeah.
I was an early adopter into EV car,
Right.
so I'd already seen, what the benefits of those can be and how they can perform. So it was a case of head out and try and find another bike. But there wasn't really anything that felt straightforward to be getting back onto.
Right.
As I'd had some experience with electric car, it was then just a case of just trying to find, something on two wheels that matched what I'd got used to. And there wasn't anything.
Right.
So it was kind of a case then that, if the product doesn't exist, I can't be the only one that wants one. So let's create it.
And it is beautiful.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So why 2026? Mainly, it's been a long journey to get to this point.
Yeah.
Getting the EU GB type approvals,
Right.
all of that stuff that you'd never think about unless you tried to take on something like this. But yeah, it's been a long journey. Got the approvals through in September last year.
Yeah.
And then it was a case just hit the ground running and, see if we can turn some people that are against EV, especially on two wheels. Understandably so. In some situations, people like the noise and the vibrations and everything else. It's not going to be for everybody, but for those that enjoy that instant torque and, the simplicity of just jumping on a bike and twisting the throttle and away you go, and you can put a smile on your face at the same time. It's
which we've all experienced tonight.
Yes. Had a go.
And we're still smiling.
Yeah.
We are all.
Some more than others.
I think the thing, I've when I found out this afternoon that I was going to be able to ride this bike, I got a bit giddy in the office, and I was like, do you know what I'm doing tonight? And I told everybody, and it didn't disappoint. That was the great thing. It did not disappoint.
Oh, good.
I think it's given us all a flavour, and we all want to experience it again. And we know that Paul explained to us before we went out on the bike this evening. It's been dialed down a little bit. Mm-hmm. So we
not because we were going to be riding.
I think, well, maybe because he was going to ride it early, and maybe the producer also over there was going to ride it. But it was, I think it's just really ignited our. Well, I really want I want another go.
Yeah,
I really want another go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I was the same. Having been around cars sort of my whole life, really. Working for Vauxhall, Peugeot in my previous life. When EV car first came around, I didn't think it was something that was going to stick. I wouldn't say I was anti-electric, but I wasn't particularly excited about it until I drove one.
And I share that sentiment because we've got an electric car and never thought we'd own an electric car, and it's now I won't go back to petrol.
Yeah,
and that instant torque, that instant speed, you can, it's a bit like what you get out of the petrol engine motorcycle. You've got that acceleration if you need to get somewhere. With the EV, you've just got instant torque, which just keeps going and going and going and going.
Yeah.
So I was really wondering how that was going to feel on the bike tonight. I mean, you used most of the power. But,
yes, he did, yeah.
But for me, it was just like the electric car, and it just going,
Yeah.
So I found that quite. I can see the point. I can see why you've gone right. If you use an electric car, well, why not have a bike that does that same kind of thing, just instant power? Because if you're only used to a car and you've got gears, as soon as you go and do an electric car, you just don't have that. You just get in, and away you go.
Yeah.
I think the only disappointment this evening is because we were all on comms and Paul wasn't.
Yeah.
So all we heard was lots of squealing and laughter, and you won't have heard all of that.
I was absolutely none the wiser, until I think you jumped off and gave me a hug.
So Paul was on the back of my bike for most of tonight, which I was thinking, hang on a minute, the CEO of Avenrà was getting on the back of my bike. And you did, as soon as you got on, and we noticed we banged helmets. And I thought,
we did.
Is this what it's going to be like? We're going to be banging helmets all night long. But literally, I was trying to do the smoothest of gear changes. I think it's all right. I think so.
It was, it was very sedate, actually.
So, now he tells me. But that's interesting. Your background in the motor trade. How did that shape what you're building now?
I think I've always had just personally a real love of anything that's got an internal combustion engine. That's where it all started.
Yeah.
My grandfather worked for Ford for all of his life.
Yeah.
I got to know my way around a car and around an engine, helping him with his Capri.
Nice car.
Yeah, you don't see many of those anymore.
My stepdad had a Capri, and I remember it used to be taking me ages to clean it. She had a big red one, with the black felt thing. Well, not felt, but the plastic
The
roof.
vinyl roof.
Vinyl roof,
Yeah.
What a car. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's kind of what got me into the motor industry. And then working directly for the manufacturer, especially when the EV started coming around for car, we lived and breathed EV. That's what all the training was around. That was going to be the future.
Yeah.
And as I say, I probably like a lot of people, EV didn't excite me to start with. I think part of that is because it felt forced.
Yeah.
None of us like being told what we have to do. And I think that's the view that a lot of people take still now, that, this has been forced upon me. I don't.
It's all about choice, isn't it? Really,
Yeah,
when it comes to anything.
I don't want to be forced into electric. I'm happy to move if it's right for me. But yeah, that kind of set the foundation, really. More so, probably getting a better understanding for how those systems work. One of the reasons I loved internal combustion engine was not just from the noise and the power and everything else, it's just that intricate detail of how this system actually operates. You know, really digging into it and understanding not just that it works, but how does it work. So with the invention of the electric car and all the training that we did, I kind of sat there and thought, wow, you know, this is, it's clever. And when it came to putting a bike together, you know, everybody's made a petrol engine motorcycle. A few people have dipped their toe in electric, but haven't really come up with anything that, you know, excites me. So that's what kind of where this came from. I'm the target market. Hopefully, you know, as people start getting on these machines, they'll get off with a big smile and think, actually, you know what, electric isn't so bad. It's not being forced on me. You know, it's just another option.
So how did you start? You know, so you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, did you buy a push bike and stick a washing machine engine to it or something, and a battery just to see how it works? I mean, what research? You know, what was the starting point for you?
Pretty much, to be honest.
Yeah.
A washing machine on a bike.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It was to understand the fundamentals of, you know, what needs to happen on that machine for it to move you off down the road. Once the theory kind of worked out, what we didn't want to create is just another boring commuter where, you know, it's just an appliance. The reason that we ride motorcycles isn't because we have to, you know. We've all got a car. The reason we get onto two wheels is because it's fun.
It's the passion. It's the passion of two wheels. When you go for a ride, you go for a ride. You don't. When you go in a car, you go from A to B. Not everybody. I know there's people out there got cars that they ride around on a Sunday, but on a motorcycle, it's A, D, F, Y. Do you know what I mean? Because you go out and it's the passion
it's the
of
experience,
it.
isn't
That's the experience.
it?
That's it. You just go there and back to see how far it is, don't you? On a bike. So really how it came from that initial idea, which obviously we talked about earlier on, being the midlife crisis thing.
I'm far too young.
Yes, well, you won't understand. Another 10, 20 years you might.
He's not.
It was either a case of get another motorcycle or get a girlfriend. Obviously, I'm married. So,
Good choice.
When I sat and spoke to the wife about it, you know, out the two, she said a girlfriend, but I couldn't afford the divorce. So, it was a motorcycle for me.
Like it.
But how we kind of came around this final product was initially, probably more from an ego point of view, is I wanted to try and create our own battery packs, our own controllers, our own hub motors.
Were you trying to source all of that kit as well, all of the technology that went into it? It's everything ground up. You had to find and develop.
That was the initial plan, but when we actually sat down and costed it all up, it was going to make probably the bike 30, 40 grand
And
just to cover the R&D. The other problem that we quickly came across is with the speed that certainly battery technology is moving along, by the time you've put all that money and resource into R&D, you've got a finished product. You've then got to get the approvals in place before you can even think about putting it on the road. By then, that tech's out of date, and you're starting from scratch again. So we quickly binned that idea off and thought, you know, there's no point inventing the wheel. So let's find top-tier battery manufacturers, motor manufacturers, controller manufacturers, and get the best that's already out there, that's already approved.
So utilising the industry then to bring the product together then, really?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. So the battery pack that we've got on it is a CAWL pack, CAWL. They're one of the top tier battery manufacturers. Right. It's an NMC chemistry battery, which is the latest tech as far as lithium goes. Obviously, further down the line, we're going to be looking at solid state, which is the next gen of batteries.
Right.
Okay.
So it's it was really a case of finding out who the right people are to talk to get the technology that we need.
I think what this evening, having the opportunity, and thank you so much for allowing us to have the opportunity to ride it this evening. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't, from a weight point of view, and I know we chatted about this a little bit earlier, it just felt like a bike. It didn't feel any different to another bike.
No. Apart from I thought somebody had stole my foot pegs. Gears.
So there is that sort of that memory thing, isn't there, about clutches and all of that. And obviously rear brake, and there's no gears to go through. It is brakes at the front.
It's literally twist and go.
Twist it, and it obviously
Don't you mean squirt and go?
Well,
but it just felt like a bike, and that was really pleasing to understand straight away that from a weight perspective, it was very neutral, it was very balanced, it felt very grounded.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it was going to do anything that I wasn't expecting, it was just a pleasure to ride. It was lovely.
For me as well, when we got to see it for the first time, you could have put that in the lineup of petrol engine bikes, and it wouldn't have been out of place because you just didn't. The design and the spec of it, but the way it looked was on point. Like it was perfect.
The first thing I noticed this evening when we got to see the bike is obviously the rear hub. Because the rear hub, obviously, it just brings you into, attracts you straight in, because you're curious as to what is at the back here, which is the motor.
That's right.
Which is generating, obviously the drive, and it isn't big. It's very slim. It doesn't look out of place. And then obviously the battery and the technology where the battery is providing the power to that motor. It just looks very sleek.
And I think that's the thing. The design of it is really good. It looks sexy. I remember researching on the website first of all, and I thought, this is a flipping decent looking bike. And and when I saw it in the flesh, I thought, will it look the same, or is it slightly different?
I mean, there it
is.
Wow. That's the first time seeing that picture. That looks great. So that'll be on the website tomorrow morning.
That was fun. We'll sell you these pictures, and
for free.
I think the Osmo we had running, which is still attached to I don't know, we've got is that from the Osmo? Oh no, we've got another attached bike. This camera's still attached to the bike. I think we had loads of different angles tonight of it, but we'll drop this obviously in the podcast, but it just looked like you wouldn't think that was an electric bike.
No.
Very, very sexy bike.
So I remember, other manufacturers have dabbled in electric bikes, and I've, I remember seeing some of the early ones, and they just looked, being honest, ugly, ugly as anything, and that does not.
And is that the differentiation you were going for, having worked in the motor trade, obviously? And
yeah, I mean the styling is very deliberate. What we didn't want to do, again, going back to electric car, a lot of the early electric cars all looked a little bit zany. They were electric, so they had to look a bit different. When you talk about motorcycles, we buy them with our heart more than our head. It's got to look right.
It's the posing factor.
It is, yeah.
When it comes down to it, like Andy's new bike and that, it's the posing factor. You want it to look a certain way. So when you buy a bike, that's the design you're looking for. You're looking for something that's sexy, that basically puts a smile on your face. And then when you go for a ride, you go, I picked the right bike.
Yeah. It's watching yourself in shop windows as you drive past.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd never do that.
You stopped the other day in front of that shop window, right? What are you doing?
It was Tesco's.
I was just checking out what was in the shop, that's all.
I mean, some of the best feedback that we've probably had on these bikes was only a few weeks back. So we've got a matte black version of that bike as well. And I was using that for the weekend, a test ride. It was a nice weekend. And I took it out. I was on my way back and probably only 5 minutes from home. Pulled up a set of traffic lights and there was a couple of young lads, probably 13, 14, with their mum. I was sat at the front of the lights. Obviously, it's not making any noise. And one of the young lads goes, "Oh, nice bike, mate." I'm like, "Thank you." And then his brother, who I presume it was, he's like, "Oh my God, is that electric?"
Really?
I was like, "Yeah, it is." "What, like a Tesla?" I was like, "Yeah." "If I give it some."
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Brum, brum.
So you had to make that noise.
But from all the feedback that I've had personally on it, that's probably some of the best because we weren't trying to sell it to him. We weren't paying somebody to review it. It was just an honest, as kids do. Whatever pops into their head, it just comes straight out of their mouth. And for a couple of lads to think that was cool.
Do you think that riders are resisting electric motorcycles, or has the industry just not made them sexy enough until now?
I think, to be honest, it's a bit of both. I think the industry certainly isn't helping. Unless you want to spend 35, 40 grand on an electric motorcycle, you're going to end up with a commuter bike, which is great if you're riding around the centre of town. But if you actually enjoy riding the motorcycle, you want to get out on a Sunday afternoon for a couple of hours, just you and the road and your thoughts, you're not going to want to do that on a twist and go moped. Again, it's as much as the industry isn't helping things, I think we're now currently with motorcycles in the same position as we were 6 or 7 years ago with car, that it's the unknown and none of us like the unknown. Why fix something that's not broke? And I'll be honest, when we put posts out on Facebook, Instagram, more so Facebook, to be honest, we get a lot of positive, but we also get a fair bit of negative. These people have never ridden it. They've probably never ridden a electric motorcycle, probably never driven an electric car. But every single person, hand on heart, that's jumped on one of those bikes has come back grinning. The standard response is, wow. I don't know what I was expecting, but I didn't quite expect that. It's
and it's quite interesting because I think you get the naysayers, don't you, in all sorts. But I mean, I remember that once upon a time there was the debate about which was better, diesel or petrol cars, and everybody was like, petrol's better, and then diesel started making torquier engines and power throughout the rev range, and everybody was like, diesel are better, and now it's gone full circle. Petrol's better, and people have got their own opinions, and the same with EVs. And I mean, Andrew drives a Tesla, and we take the mickey out of him.
But it's an awesome car.
But it's an awesome car. And I haven't actually driven an electric car, so this bike is the first electric vehicle that I've ever been on or been in, as it were. So. So the experience to me as a first-time user was really positive, and there was a few differences, but within seconds I'd adapted, and I wasn't looking for gears or clutches. It was like, this is so easy.
You did initially ask for where is the clutch?
Well, I did, yeah.
Like, and then you started squealing. We thought, he's got it.
It's good fun. And I think that's it. I remember learning to ride my first bike and thinking, I've got to learn gears, I've got to learn clutches, the brakes are different, because obviously, when you're a kid, you ride a push bike and you've got your two brakes up front, and then you think, oh, I've got a brake on my foot. And this is going back to like being a kid. Yeah. It's just so simple to ride. I mean, who would you say who's the perfect market for this bike?
Well, We're not looking necessarily, or at least the initial plan wasn't to take your more traditional rider off of their petrol machines and stick them on electric. I mean, you're never going to take a guy out of his V8 Mustang and stick him in a Tesla.
Yeah.
No. The main idea and drive behind this brand is to bring people onto two wheels that either have never been on them or used to have a bike as a late teen, early 20s, and then, of course, family and life gets in the way. It's to make it as simple as possible to really get to experience what we do. You know, that freedom it gives you, it's something that you don't really get from anything else. Even going out for a drive in the car on your own, it's not the same.
No.
So, yeah, I'd say probably our target market is those people that probably already adopted to electric car, that already drive a Tesla or an e-tron during the week, and want a bit of me time at the weekend. You can just unplug it, twist the throttle, and away you go.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say it isn't just a city bike either.
No.
You know, this is a bike you can go and have a bit of fun on. So for as much as it may benefit, you know, urban riding, you know, big cities where there may be restrictions on emissions and things like that, this will certainly help in those situations, but you can go and take it out into the countryside and have some fun on it as well.
We were watching Scott ride it, and he was twisting it.
I said to Andy, I was chatting with Andy after, and I said, I'd love to have taken that up the TT.
Yes.
Full power up the TT, not full power like probably if it would have been full power, you wouldn't have had any power left. But to take it up the TT, because for me, when I rode it, and obviously where we went, it was so light. I was expecting this heavy machine that was going to be hard to move around. Now, don't get me wrong, some petrol bikes are very much the same. When you're trying to move them around, the weight distribution is, you can tell when you've got them at a stance and try and move them, they're heavy. But when I wheeled it back off the driveway, I was like, oh my, this is a lot lighter than I was thinking.
That's a really good point. Do you think the misunderstanding from traditional riders is that, hang on, it's full of batteries, it's going to be really heavy, it's not going to be manoeuvrable?
Yeah.
I didn't think that tonight from riding.
No, it changed my thoughts on it completely.
Yeah, I think so. And we've deliberately designed this bike so that where your engine would normally be, there's a battery pack.
Yeah.
You know, where your fuel normally goes, that's where the charging point is.
Yeah.
So from a weight distribution point of view, you know, we're pound for pound, which is why.
So the centre of gravity of the bike is probably perfect then, because obviously the weight of the engine and then obviously the fuel tank with the fuel in it will put it in that range where the bike is balanced. And that's where I thought tonight was it's very balanced. What we were thinking about it was very, but the way you move it around, it was like, it was on point. It was perfect.
And this is the Avenra Evo.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about the Avenra Evo that we were riding tonight. What would you sum it up as in terms of an electric bike?
As in comparison to a petrol, you mean?
Just in terms of...
What was the inspiration for that style of bike?
Well, again, it's probably just my personal taste that created that bike. I've always liked that sports bike, super sport type of look and feel. There's certain styling elements to the machine that you've all seen tonight that, you know, there's only so many ways you can style a motorcycle. Some of the best in the world are the Italians.
I got that feeling.
There's
very Italian.
There's a few influences that have gone into this design without, you know, receiving any letters from any lawyers.
We saw that. We all off camera went, oh, that looks like a...
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
So yeah, really, when we set out to put the Evo together and the One, because they're an identical machine to look at, it was really a selfish point of view that if I was walking into a showroom to buy a motorcycle, which one would I naturally sort of move towards? And it was that style.
So give us some stats about the bike we rode tonight. I mean, what's the 0 to 60 speed or time, should I say?
Well, on the Evo, straight out of the box with the Hypercore 850, which is what they come from factory with.
Yeah.
Again, depending on the state of charge of the battery and the weight of the rider and such like, but we've recorded 3.9 seconds to 60. That one this evening's got the Hypercore 1200 controller on it. Again, we've had to wind the power down on that because we kept upsetting the battery management system with the amount of amps it was trying to push through. But that one's around about this sort of 3.5, 4 seconds to 60.
And what's the top speed?
Officially,
109
miles an hour.
Okay.
Again, with full state of charge. Personally, obviously on a private road. Indicated I had 124 miles an hour out of it.
Wow.
Again, head down, bit of a tailwind, but you know it can perform like a proper machine.
That's not slow, is it?
No.
I mean,
No.
You know,
Considering you can only do 70 on
exactly. It's
on the
plenty
motorways
capable for the UK roads.
And we do.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing 70.
Yeah, and with the setup, because obviously we know with traditional petrol bikes, the engine size and the power output means that you have to ride it on different licenses.
Mm-hmm.
What license do you need to ride this?
Well, believe it or not, even that bike that we've been out on this evening, you can ride that on a CBT.
Wow, really?
Really?
No way.
I think that's game changing.
Yeah, that's a massive.
On a CBT. Now, whether the regulations catch up or not, in the next few years or not, we're still a little bit stuck in the past for categorization, certainly when it comes to electric vehicles. How they rate them is based on their nominal power output.
Okay.
So that machine out there, if you open the throttle wide up and run it for 30 minutes, the most power it will deliver happily is 11 kilowatts, which classes it in the same band as a 125.
Okay.
What the regulations don't take into account is your peak output. So that's for the amount of power it can provide you for less than half an hour.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that presents a bit of a problem from, we don't want to put someone that's hugely inexperienced on a bike that can perform like that one does.
Yeah.
Because it could end up in, a bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
So certainly on the Evo, the benefit we have with it being electric is we can configure that bike absolutely.
So basically like a remapping then. You can remap, but control the software so the output or the kilowatts is adjusted depending on the experience of the rider then.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Ultimately, if someone walked in and wanted to buy an Avenra Evo, as long as they got the right license type and they've got it insured, there's not a tremendous amount that we can force on them to restrict it.
Yeah.
However, as part of the PDI process, there's 4 different modes that we can hard program in to force the bike to perform like a 50cc, 125, 400, and then unleashed.
Right.
Yeah, that's really good because 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds for CBT would be like, how do you get away with that?
Yeah.
I remember talking to you because we've been riding for 10 years, but you were like, what? CBT?
You're 125, imagine that.
You'll be having queues of teenagers at the door going, right, I want one.
Yeah. And we call it the Guardian settings. So if you are having a 17-year-old on the bike, the likelihood is mum or dad might be helping to fund this. The thought process is that when that bike's delivered, it's set up in 125, for example. 3-6 months later, once he's got the experience, he's still here. He can pop it in, to any dealer or use the
I've
mobile
just got
service.
visions of mum and dad coming in. Let me just put my pin in, and then suddenly full power.
Yeah, and then we can just unlock it to the next stage, so the bike kind of grows with the rider.
Yeah.
Because it's that duty of care element, really, isn't there? Because you put a 17-year-old on a bike that can do whatever, and they're on a CBT, it just means you're asking for problems.
Yeah.
But it's not controlling them, it's just falling in with the legislation of what's currently in place, so that it doesn't go outside the boundaries of what we already have for conventional motorcycles.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea, and a good way of keeping people safe as well, especially when you've just passed your test or you've just passed your CBT.
That's one of the things as a new rider.
Yeah.
You want a bike that doesn't look like a 125, don't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
That kind of
And I think you've smashed it there, by the way.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that, to be honest, with the target audience either being that young, inexperienced rider or the older, inexperienced rider, there's plenty of nice-looking machines out there that are a 125. A lot of the Aprilia range, they're a really nice-looking machine. Problem is, as soon as you jump on, fire them up, twist the throttle, there's no denying you've got a 125. Whereas on our machine, it could be anything.
Yeah.
And it probably is, because it might be set at the 50cc output, it might be unlocked.
Yeah.
Like that unlocked.
Yes.
Ready
Ready to
They'll
go.
be looking for cheat codes, won't they? How do I get this unlocked?
I think there's
Go on, sorry,
just
Tom.
quickly as well, I think the maintenance aspect as well, because obviously you haven't got things like your chain to be tightened.
Chain,
all
you've
the
got a chain.
time.
I won't go there.
Filling your engine up with oil and stuff. These are all mistakes, by the way, as a CBT rider. I was making all the time.
Well, I mean, as far as the powertrain goes, there's only one component that actually moves, and that's the rear hub motor. Everything else is static.
Right.
So from a reliability, maintenance point of view, there's very, very little to actually go wrong on it. There's only 3, 4 if you include the charging controller components that make up the whole powertrain.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you compare that to internal combustion engine, you've got thousands of opportunities for that to go wrong.
I think when I was looking at the website as well, for as much as you can dial down the power of the motor, particularly for inexperienced people, but for any rider. But I think the beauty for the brand as well is it also comes with other really, really valuable bits of kit.
Yeah.
Things like the vest, which it'll come with. And then there's obviously security features that it can come with, so to protect your asset if you purchase in this. Tell us a little bit about those things.
Yeah, well, that's one of the biggest things, again, just from a personal standpoint, is I like to sleep at night. To put a 17-year-old, so my son's 19, a couple of years ago, to have put him on that, I wouldn't have slept.
Yeah.
Until I knew he was back in safe. Riding about on 2 wheels is dangerous. Not necessarily because we're going to do anything, but someone else might very well do.
Yeah.
So one of the key things right from the start is if we're going to be potentially allowing people to use a machine that could hurt them, we need to do everything that we possibly can to make sure if the worst happens, they've got the best outcome. So it doesn't matter whether it's a Avenra 1 or an Evo, they all come standard with RST Avenra airbag jackets.
Okay.
They're the censored variety as well, not the tethered one.
Is that the in motion? I noticed.
That's the in motion, yeah. So again, when we're first looking at it, you can get the tethered version for the airbag jackets. My gut feeling was, if something happens, everybody always talks about in the event of an accident, milliseconds make such a difference. If you've got to wait for your tether to fail before your bag deploys, that could be the difference. Doesn't matter which model it is, every single one comes with a airbag jacket.
Wow.
That's a big differentiator.
From the research that we've done, we're the only manufacturer that provides an airbag jacket standard.
Wow.
I have an in-motion airbag. So I have basically, because in-motion provide their the technology and they just brand it out, obviously. But everything is app-based. You can control it. Obviously, I take it from the tech on the bike, so obviously the dash or the cockpit. Just the way that's set up, you can see all of that type of stuff to see if you're connected and all that because of CarPlay or Android Auto. Like, that was one thing that got me when you put it onto the normal display of the CarPlay. It was brilliant.
It was great.
I was like totally gobsmacked.
Yeah.
Like everything. I couldn't look at everything and try and ride the bike as well.
I just think it's a fabulous idea that we're in a situation where, as standard, we all go and buy machinery, and then we've got to think about buying a jacket and all the other bits of safety equipment. So a new jacket is a huge amount of money normally. To get that as part of the deal, I think that's absolutely fabulous.
Fabulous. And like you said, safety's not sexy at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? So this type of thing gives people peace of mind as well.
Yeah. And it's what I found from a few of the more inexperienced riders that have ridden our machines, whenever we send someone out on it, we give them an airbag jacket to take with them. And the amount of extra confidence, 'cause it's quite a heavy jacket, but not in the sense that it's uncomfortable. It makes you feel safe. And certainly the more inexperienced riders that have jumped on, put that jacket on, initially, this is heavy.
Yeah.
But when you're on the bike, it gives you that extra confidence that, should someone pull out in front of you, you've got half a chance.
Yeah.
Can I ask you another question about actually riding the bike? So one of the things that really surprised me this evening was having a hybrid vehicle in the family. And when it's very much like driving a go-kart. When you take your foot off the accelerator, you've got that engine braking, and that didn't happen on the bike tonight. And that was one of the pleasing things that I as soon as you wound it off, it didn't. It still kept motion. There was no restriction. And I think you said that can be adjusted, can't it?
Yes, yeah. And to be honest, that's what we found along the way to be one of the most beautiful things about electric powertrains is you can configure it to within an inch of its life. Throttle response, we can smooth that out. We can increase it. You can have your fast response. You can have your eco response. Regen, that machine that's out there at the moment, that's got the regen turned off, but you can have it set up so that in essence, like with your Tesla, you can do the one pedal drive or the one hand drive. So as soon as you lift off the throttle, it's like you're putting the brake on. It really is, not every Avenrà is going to be the same because
interesting.
You might want it to flow when you let off the throttle, whereas you might want the regen.
So you've got customization there, so you can basically set the bike up as you would want it, depending on what type of riding you're going to be doing for that day.
However you want it setting up. And again, one of the things that's going to be the case at launch, when the customer comes to do the road test, and we do all of those as a mobile sort of test ride. So we'll take a bike out to the customer, let them out. We'll then take some feedback from them when they come back. How did you find the throttle? What works for me might not work for you. We can tweak it. Customer can take it back out again. Yeah, that's better. Or no, actually, no, I want it more responsive than that. And we kind of create the profile for the customer before they've actually even placed an order, so that when that order goes through and their bike's delivered, that bike is set up absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you now, I would be crazy mode all the time.
Full send.
That is like a really bespoke experience compared to anything other I've heard of, isn't it? Where your profile's configured by the dealer, essentially.
Yeah. And at any point you can, whilst there's not a lot of elements to service on our machines, we do still have an annual service schedule. Predominantly, obviously there's a battery, software updates, safety checks, but more so It's to refine the bike to the rider.
Yeah.
So you might find after 12 months of using it, you come in for your service and you might be, you know what?
Yeah.
As nice as it is that it just flows when I let the power off, I could do with another couple of miles range. Can we put a bit of regen in?
Yeah.
You know, I'm handing the bike over to my son. Can we tweak the power back down, or can we adjust the throttle response? Those annual visits are probably more so going to be, you know, those personalisation.
So the dealer experience I've noticed from Georgia, who's your brand manager, isn't it?
Yes.
She's been pushing quite a lot on LinkedIn that you're signing up dealers left, right, and centre. It looks like nearly every day there's a new dealer. What is going to be the dealer structure like, and where do people go to? You mentioned there about test riding these, and I know you're going to be launching in June. Which
can I jump in on that as well? Can I jump in on that? Because I think you'll find they'll come to you.
Yeah.
So that's really important. They'll come to you.
But there is a dealer network.
There is a dealer network.
Yeah.
So we split the country into 15 territories. There'll be one dedicated authorised dealer partner, ADP as we call them,
Right.
per territory. So they'd be the main guys to handle the actual sale. You know, if you've got any problems, you can pick the phone up and actually talk to somebody, see someone face to face. Over and above that, we're also just about to start rolling out an ARC network, which is a authorised referral centre. So this is going to be golf courses, gyms, hotels, shopping centres. Just really so we can get the bikes in front of people.
Of course, yeah.
They can sit on them, you know, do what they need to do. There's no pressure selling from an ARC. It's literally completely hands off. So the bike's there. If you like it, pop your details in. We'll get a bike out for you to ride. You can have it for an hour. You can have it for a day. You know, whatever you want to do. If it's right for you, then one of the 15 ADPs.
And you can tell you've been in the motors trade because you are bringing all of those things. I'm listening, thinking that's that. I mean, we worked for the.
I worked at Virtue Motors for 5 years.
Oh, did you?
At the head office, weren't you? And all the kind of campaigns, all the kind of how would you track somebody through in terms of getting, you know, the follow-up.
This is like boring business talk side of things. But like, it's interesting to hear that approach, obviously, like golf courses and the gyms and stuff, because you will get people who will see it. It's eye-catching, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's... again, you might notice that a lot of our ADPs, so our proper dealer partners, are car dealers.
That's what I noticed.
Not motorcycle showrooms. Initially, that was very deliberate because we weren't trying to tempt people off of petrol bikes. We're trying to bring people onto two wheels that otherwise wouldn't have been.
Interesting.
If you're walking into an established motorcycle showroom, you've already made the decision that you're buying a traditional motorcycle. You're probably not going to go in to buy a petrol bike and come out with one of ours. The thought process behind premium car dealers is that's where our customer is. So you could be in there at a weekend having a look at an e-tron or something for the family, and then what's sat there in the corner of the showroom, you know, under the spotlights, there's
a bit of fun for the weekend.
There's the Evo sat there, and it just then hopefully sells itself, and you think, oh, that's quite a nice word. Do you want to have a...
And the price point, I mean, obviously you can afford an e-tron. You can probably have two Evos, but what is going to be the price point at launch? I know you're launching June. I mean, you can talk us through that in a second, but what's going to be the sort of price point for the both bikes?
So the one being the lower powered one, that's going to retail at $4,999. The Evo, which is the sort of the Halo model, that's just £1 short of 10 grand.
Can we go back to safety? Because safety and technology, what really got me quite excited is Halo.
Yes.
Do you want to kind of explain the Halo perception system that you're looking to kind of build? I know it's not coming out yet, but it's something you're looking to build, is it? Yeah,
it's something that's in the works at the moment. So Halo, again, it goes back to, you know, putting flesh and blood on them, quite a dangerous product. And that's not just us. It's anybody that builds motorcycles. You're going to get, unfortunately, people that come unstuck and get hurt. I've personally probably only got 4 of my 9 lives left, and most of those came from when I was on 2 wheels.
We'll talk about in the pub later on. We'll have a pint you can tell us all about.
Yes. But it kind of reinforced that, if someone is buying one of our machines, we need to make sure if the worst happens, we can sit back and say, we literally couldn't have done anything else.
Yeah.
So Halo, in its most basic form, is an accident avoidance system.
Right.
So it will continuously monitor what's going on around the bike, and will, for 99% of its time, that's all it will do. It will just keep an eye out, see what's going on. Where Halo sort of comes into its own is, if you imagine the scenario, it's Sunday afternoon, you're riding down an A road, car sat waiting to come out from your near side.
Yeah.
Son's behind you. You can see the car perfectly. Do we know if he's seen you?
Yeah.
That particular scenario, from the data that we've pulled, that's the biggest cause of killed or seriously injured.
Yeah.
So that's what we focus on. With Halo, as the rider's coming up to the car, obviously it's detecting that the vehicle's there.
Yeah.
It's looking for any feedback from the rider to suggest that, you're already all over this.
Yeah.
If you are, it'll stay happily sleeping. When it gets to the point that it wants to intervene, it uses some quite clever calculations to work out a balance of the likelihood you've been seen to the likelihood that a collision is going to occur.
Yeah.
And obviously the two will go like that.
Yeah.
As you're getting closer to the car, it's when it really starts to get clever. It doesn't just look to see that there's a vehicle there. It then looks for the very subtle clues from either the driver himself or the vehicle as to what is likely to happen next.
Are we talking about connected vehicles here? Because I know there's a lot of things going on, isn't it, about trying to get vehicles to be connected to other vehicles, certainly with power 2 wheels.
This isn't, no.
Right.
So no, this is purely based on the intelligence that's on the bike itself.
Right.
So we're using radar, LiDAR, HDR cameras to build that perfect view of what's ahead.
So it might anticipate there's a car about to pull out and thinking, well, actually the rider hasn't applied the brakes yet or come off the throttle.
Yeah.
And therefore, would it do that for you? Would it slow you down?
It will. It will initially, like most accident avoidance systems, it will ping a light at you, send a haptic warning through the handlebars. If it still looks like something bad's going to occur, and it will do that from using iGaze 360, which is a bit of tech we're working on at the moment. Not only does it know the car's there, it's also looking at the driver.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's looking for his gaze vector.
Yeah.
So, has that driver actually seen me?
Yeah.
It looks for minute movements in the wheels.
Yeah.
Changes in body position, all to suggest whether that driver is just about to pull out.
Wow.
I experienced that on when the Tesla went in to get repaired. I had the latest Hyundai Santa Fe, and it had this eye monitoring system looking at my eyes, and literally I was looking down at something and it was bleeping about. And you remember I was in the car. The problem I had, there was so much bleeping, and there was too much bleeping. I couldn't turn it off. But I remember it like I was there, like that look, I was like, as soon as I looked down there for longer than so many seconds, it bleeped at me, and I found that quite weird. But this is the other way around, isn't it? This is looking at the driver.
Yeah, this is looking at everything else and hoping that the two humans are aware of each other.
Yeah.
And it kind of steps in as your halo.
Like that.
So once it has figured out that that vehicle is starting to move, or the driver intent in the car is indicating that he's going to be pulling out, it will then go into its preparation stage. So it will pre-charge the brakes, get the airbag jacket ready. It will start winding off the power. If the likelihood of a collision continues to increase, it will then start increasing regen, wind the throttle off even more, apply the brakes, sound the horn, preload the front suspension, to do everything that it can to make sure, even if it's shaving 2 or 3 miles an hour off, that can make a difference.
Which can make a massive... I mean, Mike Abbott talks about the whole ability to brake and applying a brake at a certain speed, but if you've got something that's helping anywhere to shave a bit of speed off, there's the likelihood of you surviving something if it doesn't pull out. So it is quite fascinating to hear.
I was going to ask the question about, so we've got the situation of a vehicle pulling out of a junction, but I would imagine that's doing the same thing if a vehicle's going to go across, cross in front of you and cut across in front. Because I was thinking about that's when I get a little bit more cautious when you've got a car indicating to go across your lane and you're approaching them and you're thinking, have they seen me? And you're trying to make, particularly if you've got the sun and things behind you. So that's really interesting to hear.
It's like having that extra pair of eyes. Up to that point, Halo pretty much, with the exception of the eye track, is working like any other system that's available on car currently to try and avoid the accident. Where Halo really comes into its own is once the worst has actually already happened.
That was my next question. Talk us through the emergency response system.
So this really has been this part of the system has been the main reason for pushing it forward. So this car's pulled out, you've impacted with the vehicle, you're now off your bike, on the road. Best case scenario is there's a car following you, he's going to stop and have a look. Try and pop your visor up. Are you right, mate? Oh, cross. No, you're not. Going to call an ambulance. You're going to have to wait for the ambulance to come out. So on and so forth. With Halo, as soon as that collision has occurred, you've not even hit the ground yet. It's already starting to record the data that it can pass on to the emergency services.
Right.
So Halo functions with Gen 2 of the airbag jacket, which also has impact sensors down the front, the side and on the back. G sensors in the helmet, also sensors in the gloves as well. So it's like having a triage nurse there with you straight away. That will then contact our emergency team immediately to say, this is the location, this is the rider, this is how old he is, this is how much he weighs, this is his blood type. Granted, some of that stuff the rider will have to put into the app initially.
I was going to ask if it's app connected to all of that.
But it will then feed back not only that he's been hurt, but also whereabouts on the body, what sort of forces are involved. It will monitor oxygen saturation through the gloves, pulse rate, and it will feed all of that data back in real time, which then gets passed on to the emergency services. And it will also make a triage recommendation based on all the data that it's collected to say, this guy's not in good shape. Don't bother sending an ambulance. This needs air ambulance. This is the likely injuries, so make sure there's a specialist.
So that's quite some cutting edge technology there. To me, this sounds like this is future stuff. This is like, I remember, driving my first car and, had a manual handbrake, and nowadays it's got automatic handbrake, and And cars are getting better and better each year, and now hearing some of this stuff could come to bikes is
could be massive,
amazing.
couldn't it?
Yeah.
It could be massive.
I mean, I've got a system on my car, which I think a lot of cars now with the parking sensors, that if it detects something, it beeps at you, then it brings up a warning light, and if you still keep driving, it absolutely applies the brakes.
Yeah.
And when it first happened, I thought this is really invasive. Until I nearly stoved it into a brick wall, and I think I'm really pleased I've got this system.
Yeah.
You know,
How does it work? I'm interested to know that. I mean, obviously you get the airbag as standard, but how are you doing it with the gloves and the helmet to bring all that together? That's
Yeah. So once Halo becomes a thing, we've finished all the testing, we've got all the approvals on it. The jacket with the impact sensors, that will still remain standard equipment.
Yeah.
The gloves and the helmet will be optional.
Right.
However, the only way Halo is going to work absolutely
Yeah.
is with the gloves, the helmet, and the jacket. We're using, much like we did with the powertrain components, you know, it's pointless going out and trying to create all of this from scratch. So we're using tech that's already there. It's just nobody's thought of putting it all together, linking it all up and getting it all to talk to each other, which is literally what's happening right at the moment.
Nice.
But it's that golden hour. And we've talked to London Air Ambulance, South Yorkshire Police, Safer Roads UK. Because whilst we had an idea as to what we'd want the system to gather and send off, obviously we're not medically trained, so there might be something that we think is incredibly useful, and it turns out it's not, and you know, vice versa, there might be things that we might disregard. And from a first responder point of view,
it is that consultative approach which I think that is the way forward. I think that, you know, because a lot of people think that emergency services require certain things, and actually they don't. And things get created and get pushed out, and it's like, you know, so that's a really, really excellent approach.
sounds amazing.
On top of that,
there's more.
There's more. From Halo, because it's collecting all of this data. It locks it away in a black box after the accident, and that can be shared, obviously, with the rider's permission or next of kin, with police, insurance companies, having the raw data that doesn't actually relate to anybody. That type of thing is going to be passed on to Safer Roads. So if there is, you know, an issue with the road itself, you know, we're going to have all the data, but it completely removes that he said, she said, because we've already mapped everything that's happened right up to that point.
And really I suppose the reality is some people will love that, and there'll be other people that say, I really don't want that.
I mean, if you survive it and you were doing 110 miles an hour in a 50, you probably don't want that.
I don't want North Yorkshire Police knowing.
You don't want that information released. But, you know, it's there. There's lessons to be learned, even if, you know, you've hurt yourself and it was maybe your fault. It's still very valuable.
So the bike we rode tonight, did that have the tech that's capable of kind of handling that?
No, that one doesn't have Halo on it.
I'll have that one, please.
Not so much the software, but in terms of the LiDAR sensors, the cameras, the stuff you mentioned.
That all makes up the Halo system. So the current generation of bikes hasn't got that. Mainly because we've got it up to about an 81, 82% accuracy rate, which is pretty good, but you know, you don't want it 18% of the time giving you false alarms until we can get it up into, you know, 100% near as damn it.
I've got a quick one for you then. Obviously, you're talking about the equipment, so your helmet, there'll be sensors in the helmet and in the gloves and that. So with regard to manufacturers, so obviously, as we all know, we all buy a different helmet, we all buy different gloves and stuff. So how will it work? Because obviously, for them to use the Halo system, they'll have to have this architecture of equipment to actually do it.
Well, on the helmet, whilst we'll be supplying a helmet with the gear already built in, one of the key things that we're trying to work on at the moment is that it almost becomes an accessory part, so you can fit it to your existing lid. The gloves, obviously, because that's all built into the glove, there's not a lot we can do about that. But yeah, from a helmet, because some people like full face, some don't. Part of the task is to make sure it can be a transferable bit of kit.
And I think it's really interesting because, you know, I think there's some people, as I say, you know, they like minimal tech on bikes, but, you know, I mean, we've all added extra gadgets and gizmos to our bikes to bring tech onto them because, you know, I mean, I know Scott's put, you know, and I've got one of these CarPlay units and yours has got a radar sensor on it and cameras and actually it is improving, you know, the experience. So
can we talk about electricity, like electric anxiety and range anxiety? Because
the elephant in the room.
We need to address it because when we moved from the car petrol to the Tesla, and you know, you hear the stories. I mean, to be honest with you, it was only because it was somebody said, "Well, why are you going to get that? Why don't you just get a Tesla?" And we were like, "Well, you probably can't afford it, you know. And how do you charge it? And where can I charge it?" And when you get one, you realise how easy it is, and it's not a problem at all. Depending on what you're doing. If we were doing the bigger miles, I would have gone for the dual motor, but we're not. We're doing small miles, and we're not charging it up very often. And we managed to put solar on, so actually charging the car overnight is about £2. Whereas at the moment, there's a little thing going on with fuel. And we're sitting pretty. And I think EVs, because there's a lot of, again, sort of negativity around EV motorcycles as well, isn't there? But actually, at the moment, it makes flippant sense. But what is the biggest kind of fear, do you think, in terms of people looking at the range, and how are you making it different?
Range usually. Again, going back to when we do get some feedback on Facebook, predominantly, it is a lot of the time around the range. Now, Evo, it's got a 11.5 kilowatt battery pack on it, which, to put that in some kind of perspective, BMW 330e, obviously it's a hybrid. Battery pack on that is, so big? So big. That's 12.5 kilowatt.
Right.
As I say, ours is 11.5, but it fits in there. That one, depending on how you ride it, again, no different to petrol. You can get up to 200 miles out of a charge.
Wow.
On that bike. If you're riding it much more spiritedly, you can still get 100 miles. You know, it really does depend.
And as you say, it's exactly the same as for you riding a traditional bike. We know if we've been out and our fuel gauge is going like that, it's probably because...
So I'm going to be the elephant in the room here now. So you're talking about, obviously, when you see a fuel gauge going down, petrol stations are everywhere. So obviously, and they are there for the cars as well. But if you take motorcycle riders, they're normally out in the countryside doing the roads and that. There's not very many charging possibilities around that. How are they going to get around that? Because obviously, I know there is for cars, but obviously, how's it going to work for bikes?
So the bike will charge exactly the same as a car.
Right.
I looked at that because earlier on I lifted up the cap and thought I can put my Tesla charge thing in, and I thought, okay, I can get one of these now.
So all of our bikes will charge on Type 2 fast charge. They won't work on CCS.
Right.
Which is kind of the circular one with the oblongy bit underneath. And that's only because those charge systems need to see at least 200 volts before it will initiate a charge. Obviously, our system, even fully charged, is 86 volt. So any charge point that you could plug a hybrid into, predominantly, or a slightly earlier electric car, you can charge one of our bikes on. Okay. From the point of view, if you're going for a ride out to the coast, or wherever you might be headed, most places nowadays have at least a 3.6 or a 7 kilowatt charge point that you can plug into. All the bikes come with what get referred to as granny chargers, which are 3-pin charge points. So you can, once you finish your ride and you get home and you plug in the bike in the garage, just plug it into the wall, other end into the bike. Like hotel I'm staying at tonight.
So what, like you used to do the Leon, you had a hybrid, didn't you? We just plugged in a standard plug.
So how long will it take to recharge the vehicle?
If you're charging it at home, obviously you're limited by how much your wall plug will actually kick out. On Evo, you're looking at probably about 2.5 hours to fully charge it at home. If you're charging it at a public charge station, you're looking at just over an hour to fully charge it.
Which is not bad. I mean, I'm thinking, if, a ride out to Whitby, we get to Whitby, we'll go and have a coffee, ice cream, fish and chips, a bit of a wander around, a bit of a chat. Well, your bike's charged and you're ready to come back. If you think you're doing, even if you're riding it quite hard, after 100 miles of riding it hard, you're going to need to stop. Chances are you're going to need to stop before the bike does. Whether that's to stretch your legs, have a coffee, have a smoke, whatever it is.
Challenge accepted.
And even if it is taking an hour to charge it up, once you've been in Adawee and got something to eat and.
But you talked also about regen. So is it throwing some of that kinetic energy back to the battery on occasions?
Yes.
So, it could be self-charging itself or...
to a certain extent, so you can, depending on your particular preference, you can have quite heavy regen. So every time you lift off, it's pulling that sort of rolling power back into the battery pack. But I certainly don't think there's going to be many people that are going to struggle with range, just from the point of view if you're doing 100, 200 miles.
A lot of it up here.
It is, I drive a Tesla.
Sorry.
I like that.
Yes.
What colour? No, we'll talk about that later. Oh, no, we didn't. Fist bump, we didn't.
I'm cutting that on the podcast.
But the people listening on Spotify and...
I bet yours is dual motor, isn't it?
Yes.
He's got a proper one.
I can't believe we had a fist pump.
To be honest, though, I did have a single motor one on loan, and that was actually better.
Oh, don't say that.
Carry on.
It was actually better on range than the dual motor.
Interesting.
Whilst the dual motor's got a slightly bigger pack, it is also powering 2 motors and the extra weight and everything else. So I think I can get 310 miles out of the dual motor, 250 out the single. But
not a massive.
So obviously we're talking about power, range, and everything else, and you're talking about the regen. So does the rider have the capability on app to actually go in and say, right, okay, I'm pushing it here. I don't know if I'm going to get home. I've got whatever. Will they be able to adjust it so they can? I know you're talking about the bikes coming back to you and changing the map. Will they be able to do that themselves?
Through the app, yes, you can adjust your line and face currents, which is your power and torque. And regen status. Right. However, the regen, obviously there's no such thing as free energy. Probably the best way is, because it's got 3 ride modes, is enjoy it on mode 3 until you're suddenly looking, thinking, I've got 50 miles of range. And
stick it on 1.
And I'm 55 miles away from home. Pop it on 1.
It's like eco mode on your car, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to be the most exciting ride home. But it's going to get you there.
I think we've got a challenge. How many times you can get up and down the TT?
I want to do it. You've got to let me do it.
I think that could be quite an interesting challenge, actually.
I think we should do John O'Groats to land then. There's the challenge.
I don't know if you saw, we are in late July. So just waiting to hear back from Guinness World Records that they're going to accept it as an attempt. The world record at currently, for the longest journey on a single charge on a production electric motorcycle, it's a bit of a mouthful, is 194 miles, which, from the point of view of a world record, doesn't seem that good, really. So based purely on the physics of it all, that Evo that we've all been out on tonight in eco mode, theoretically will do 450 miles if you're careful.
Well, if you start at John O'Groats and you finish at Land's End, it's all downhill.
So
I'm not so sure with a 15-stone middle-aged man it might get.
Our plan is to go from the Humber Bridge at Hull, and then follow the east coast all the way down, and it should run out of charge around about Hastings.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
That's a good challenge.
And that will more than double the current record.
Excellent.
It's not going to be the most exciting of rides.
And who's riding?
So our test rider, Kian.
3 stone.
He's 4'6" and 3 stone wet through.
He used to be a jockey. Yeah. But yeah, that'll be quite good, I think. Certainly from a PR point of view.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, to hold the world record for that. And that record was only set last year, year before, by another brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be quite an achievement.
Where will people be able to? Sorry, Martin, but I was quite eager to find out where people could actually observe that or view that. Will it be getting filmed? Will it be getting?
Yes. So as part of it being an official Guinness World Record attempt, we need to be running with 2 separate GPS trackers, record it as well. But we are going to map out the route, publish that on the website with the estimated times that we're going to be heading through each different sort of village and town on the way down, and then meet the Guinness World Records man at the end, you know, with his blazer and everything else. Big smiles and photographs.
So cool.
Can we be here?
Yes.
So all the way from Hull down to Hastings. Why when you come north? Is it because it's uphill?
Yeah.
That will be good.
So tell us about the launch then. What is June 2026? What can people expect from the launch?
So we've actually just opened the test ride diaries now,
right?
So people can go on and book a test ride. As I said earlier on, you can have it for an hour, you can have it all day, to really get a feel for it. As we get closer to the June launch, there's going to be a few events around the country, sort of at shopping centres, Trafford Centre's one of the main ones, where you can actually, you know, touch and feel these bikes. Each dealer's going to have a launch day. You know, your standard dealership launch, you know, a few sandwiches and a couple of balloons and that type of thing.
Oh, balloons, I'm in.
Sandwiches for me.
RST jacket.
Yes, yeah.
Other brands are available.
Yes.
Yes. It's kind of just going to be, the actual launch day will probably be less of an event than the month running up to it and the month after it. But it's really just a case of trying to get people to ride it.
Yeah.
You know, I honestly don't mind if we've got hundreds of test rides each week and we only sell one bike. It's to get those people that, you know...
It's changing perceptions.
That don't like an EV just because it's different. You know.
I mean, I and one of the things I was going to say is, you know, things are changing. You know, across, you know, and I think, you know, tonight riding that bike, you know, would I want it to replace my current bike? Maybe not yet. but I'd certainly have one in the garage alongside it. You know, and
if you'd had the power I had, because I was the first one I was looking at the ride.
yeah.
If you had had all the power I had, you might have changed your mind.
I want it with option 3 and the first have a go.
Yeah.
No, you after me.
And so obviously this is a new product that's coming out. You know, so if somebody was to order a bike, you know, what's the sort of the lead time? Because obviously there is that customization sort of stage. I noticed, you know, on your website you can, you know, it's got all the usual things like you can pick your colours. I love the colours are named after a racer.
I love that.
Yes, they are. Yeah,
great idea. I think is it white was Snetterton? Was that right?
Yes,
I remember.
Yeah,
Can't remember the others.
That was a very nice touch, actually. Yeah.
So how, if somebody put an order in, how long would they have to wait to actually receive one?
Well, one of the other things that we're doing, because the stock that's going to be at the dealers are like a group stock. So if you happen to go into an Avenrà dealership in Liverpool and you want a red Evo, if he hasn't got one, but a dealership down on the south coast does have one, we can get that bike to you the next day.
Just like the motors trade. Love that.
So yeah, it can be as quick as 24 hours.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Unless there's any particular customization you want. Like one of the things that we offer is the personalized colors. So one of our dealers, he's a supercar dealer, was in his showroom a few weeks ago, and he's got 2 Lamborghinis in this purple colour. You know, as long as we can get the paint code, if he's got a customer going in there to buy his Lambo in whatever this purple is, he can have a bike in exactly the same colour.
Nice.
I can just see Andrew ordering one in Just Ride Blue.
Just which one? That was almost Just Ride Blue, actually, the one we wrote tonight.
Yes.
I mean, in the event that it's a premium colour, that's, you know, not already going to be out there, you're probably looking at about 8 weeks.
Yeah. Again, it's not bad.
That's quicker than your.
It's quicker than your BMW.
Yeah.
But
Not
I've
speed-wise.
got it.
He's got it.
I've got it, and I'm delighted.
Yeah.
So what's the long-term vision then for Avenrà?
Firstly, is to get a proper foothold in the UK.
Good.
We're a UK brand. Whilst we're new and a bit different, you know, some of the components that fit to the bike, they're also from British brands. So you might have seen our braking components, certainly on Evo. They're from Hell Performance. So they are.
It's been stopping the world since 1997?
Yeah, they are the British Brembo. Initially, the plan was to have Brembo.
Yeah.
But that was taking absolutely forever.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Whereas the guys at Hell, really nice bunch of guys.
Yeah.
You know, they saw the benefit, sent us some kits. We tried them. Wow, yeah, this is a
the brakes are really good on it.
Yeah, this is a proper brand.
Yeah.
From there, we've already started making some tracks into the continent. So the next target is France and Italy. So we're just going through and working with the regulators there.
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself is going to be huge. Certainly from the CBT type riders, you know, France and Italy, they love that type of machine.
Yeah.
The licensing laws are even more in our favour from the age that you can get onto a bike out there. So it's going to be then just trying to create a dealer network in France and Italy as well.
Wow.
And Spain, I would imagine.
And Spain,
Yeah.
potentially so. Spain might be a little more difficult to crack because the Avenrà name, whilst in ancient Italian, it basically means what is to come, is what Avenrà means, which we felt was quite appropriate for what we're trying to create.
Yeah.
Whereas in Spanish, the closest thing to Avenrà means draining. Which is again probably for an EV brand isn't probably the strongest of names. So yeah, we might leave the Spanish market for the time being. But yeah, what is to come is
brilliant.
Well, Avenrà.
It's been fantastic having you on the show tonight, Paul, and for letting us ride the bike, because I think it's changed our
amazing.
It didn't change my view so much because I obviously would always have an electric car, but I couldn't believe how smooth and how light it was, because I was expecting it to be quite heavy. But Andy's going to ask you some.
It's the time of day, Paul, that everybody looks forward to. Okay, everyone that comes on the pod to say, just get to this point, Andy. So, apart from the Avenrà, I'm going to say you've got to exclude the Avenrà, because I know you're going to say, if money was an object, what bike would you buy? I know you'd have an Evo and you'd have a One. What else would you have?
Well, I would have, believe it or not, a 1988 Yamaha DT50.
Oh, nice bike.
Oh, I've just got all excited.
It doesn't take much for you, mate.
With delivery miles on it. That was the first.
White with the red graphic.
Well, it would actually have to be blue.
Yamaha blue.
Now, that was the first bike I ever had. That one was white initially until I painted it blue with a rattle can.
We all did that
one Saturday afternoon. But I love that bike.
Yeah.
You know, that was 16. Well, I was 15 when me and my dad first went to go and pick it up. But that was my first feeling of freedom and being a grown up. Wow. So to be able to get one of those, I mean, I tried to find one not so long ago, and I just can't find one anywhere. So if anyone's got one.
If there's anyone watching the podcast that has access to a DT50, then please contact us.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be really interesting as well, that maybe in 15, 20 years' time, when maybe we're asking some other people, that might say, I really want an
BMW R,
an Avenra Evo or a One, and because of the passion that Paul had there for the DT50. Who's your motorcycling hero?
I would say I've probably not got one.
You can choose any of us.
Yeah.
Remember, I hugged you.
I would say probably this man right here.
So Scott is the hero. Scott is a hero.
You did go on the back of my bike event and you were very safe.
Yeah, I was very safe.
Favourite place to ride your bike?
Probably out towards Scarborough. Mm-hmm. That's quite a nice run, especially out from sort of East Yorkshire, coming out of near Leeds. And, the first bit of the journey's not so good, but once you get out there, out to Scarborough, it's quite a nice place to be. Roads.
And the final question, you'll be pleased to know, is obviously the price point of the bike is really, really competitive. So you've got a couple of quid left in your pocket. What would you buy? Would you buy yourself a new helmet that you can put the tech in, or would you buy boots, clothing? What would you buy?
I would probably buy our Sentinel system.
Or expand.
Yeah. So that's an option currently, but that has the bike track, the micro dot, and the James Bondy style. I don't know if you've seen the pictures on the website. Where if someone tries to steal the bike,
I have seen it.
Smoke.
It pumps out the whatever colour smoke you want. Yeah, red is the default.
Yeah.
I want that. I want it.
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
I love that.
Even though that's our product, even if it wasn't, that's what I'd buy.
That's called Sentinel, is it?
Sentinel, yeah. Because, the problem with a bike is if someone wants to steal it, that one that's out there, one or two of us would easily get that in the back of a Transit and it would be gone. Would we find it as easy to get it in the back of the Transit if the alarm's going, the wheel's locked, and it's pouring out a load of red smoke? You just give up, wouldn't you?
It needs electric people as well. I think that would be a nice touch.
Unfortunately, you're not allowed to do that. Yeah.
Shame.
And could the Sentinel system be fitted to any other motorcycle, or is it only your brand?
Just our brand. Yeah.
I'll just have to buy a battle can and just there or
Wait a minute.
I did see that on the website, and it does look really impressive. So thank you, Paul. Thank you so much.
And can you tell the listeners and the viewers what is the website address and where they can find out more about the brand?
Yes. So website is Ride Avenra. So it's RIDEAVENRA.com.
Excellent.
Everything's on there. So if you wanted to book a test ride, haven't got to go into a dealer. Just go on, make a booking, and we'll turn up with a bike and
away you go.
Away you go. Fill your boots.
Fantastic. And the one you brought tonight, you are leaving it in my garage, aren't you?
Unfortunately not. No, that's going to Scotland tomorrow, that bike.
Oh, well.
When it's been to Scotland, it can go in mine because I've got a charger ready there.
You guys don't have room in your garage. I've just kitted mine out. I have room.
I have now.
Not that much.
Right. But anyway, so thank you very much, Paul, for coming on Just Right tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I think we are now going to go to the green room and have a beer. It's not too late, hopefully.
We'd like people to like.
Subscribe.
How obvious could we not be? Come on.
I thought you were both having a fit.
And leave a comment as well.
And leave a comment.
And what's your thoughts on EVs? Is it for you? Might not be for you, but what's stopping you and what would make you buy an EV?
Give it a go.
Give it a go. We've given it a go tonight. It's been absolutely brilliant. We'll be dropping some of the footage in and our experience as well. But once again, thank you very much, Paul.
No, thank you for having me.